Okay, so job done for today. Got finished quite early today, which is quite good considering I've got an almost 4-hour journey back home. So it took 3 hours 40 to get here this morning, so probably similar on the way home, maybe 10 minutes extra because I've got to pick up a little bit of extra energy. I have put into the sat-nav my journey home, and I've put in the Ionity at Stafford as a tour point. So let me just show you that on the other camera. Get this one started. So you can see here, that's where I am at the moment. This is home, and that's the tour point of Stafford Ionity. You can see over here the information. So it is 108. That's the range I've got currently. It's 69.6 miles away. I have 108 range. On the sat nav, if I go menu, route options, it will show you the summary with percentages. So you can see here it's going to get me to that point with 8% battery. It suggests I charge to 76% over 25 minutes. And then get home with 30%. Now I don't need to get home with 30%. In fact, I would prefer to get home with less. So about 10% is fine by me, because then I can use my own home energy, which is much lower cost. So if I take 20 off that 30 to give me the 10 that I need, then I can take 20 off that 76 and only charge to about 50. Now include into that the sat nav is quite pessimistic compared to my driving. I can beat all of these percentages, so I'd expect to get there with more than 8%. I'd expect not to need 76%, and I don't want to get back with 30%. So probably I would estimate around 10 minutes of charging will be enough. Certainly I will charge to about 50, maybe 60%, we'll see. Also, that's using the fastest route as per over here. I have the most economic route as well as an option. I can save myself 20 miles. If I tap on that one, you'll see it takes that most direct route. Unfortunately, that does mean I would be using almost 50 minutes longer. That's a lot more. The charging time would be less, so it's even the Kia sat-nav is saying you can be doing 20 minutes. But what's an extra 5 minutes of charging when you can save yourself 50 minutes in the actual driving? So I think I will be doing the fastest route. I will be going that way. Hopefully the traffic won't be too bad around Birmingham on the M6. But I don't think I will be charging for 25 minutes. It'll be 10, maybe 15 minutes at maximum. So that's the plan. And I guess I'll get on my way. So there we go. So we're underway. We're leaving the industrial area of Bromborough, where I've been working today. And the sat-nav is telling me I'll be home at 6:15. Obviously that's with traffic as it is currently. I'm expecting it to get worse as we head through the kind of rush hour time. So I would be very surprised if I get back that soon. And the next stop is the Ionity Charge points, and it's suggesting I'll get there with 8%. As usual, I would generally get to somewhere with more, so let's see what that becomes. Okay, so a quick update. The preconditioning has just turned on. I have 26% battery remaining. I am 32 miles from the Ionity stop. It says I'm going to reach there with 6%. Presumably it's taken into account the added drain on the battery from the preconditioning, and that's why it's gone down in percentage. My destination arrival estimated battery. Currently been going for 50 minutes and at a 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour average. The outside temperature is 12 degrees. The battery is between 13 degrees at the lowest point and 16 degrees at its warmest point. As I say, the preconditioning has just turned on, so the battery heater, if I take a look at that, battery heater is at 22 degrees and obviously rising as I speak, and that will warm the battery up for a faster charge when I get to the charge point, the ultra rapid charge point. Traffic is building up. I've been monitoring the charge point on the sat nav, and it's been flicking between 2 available to 3 available, back to 2 available, 3 available. So there's some people there, some people coming and going, but they're not all taken. There is availability. Okay, so still heading down the M6. Just thought I'd add a little extra here. So the preconditioning, as mentioned, kicked in, battery heater kicked in at 26%. The temperature on the battery started to rise because, of course, the battery heater heated the coolant heated the battery cells, and we reached 16 as a battery minimum from, I think it was 13 when preconditioning kicked in. Now, preconditioning has just turned off because I've gone below 20%. So 20% is the safety limit, and the car will turn off the preconditioning if the battery state of charge drops below 20%. So this is to prevent you accidentally running out of energy and not making it to your destination charger, or your charger, sorry, not your destination charger, your charging point that you were planning. So that is the current state. The coolant is currently sitting at 30 degrees though, so there will still be some warming effect even over the next 10-15 miles that I've got still to go. So the lowest cells have already risen from 16 to 17. That's without the battery heater on. Although the hottest cells are cooling down, they're now down at 22. So previously the battery heater had carried on until the minimum reached 21. I think that's the point where it turns off in terms of the temperatures within the cells. What has happened this time is because I'm a bit lower on energy, the battery heater is turned off due to the state of charge of the battery, not due to it having heated up sufficiently. So we will be starting at a slightly cooler battery when I arrive at the Ionity charge point. It's not going to be cold, it's not like it's going to be middle of winter style charging where it needs to really heat it up well. So we're between 17 and 22 degrees at the moment on the battery, and we'll have to see what that effect that has. I'm sure it will still charge really rapidly, and I won't be waiting around too long. 10-15 minutes maximum for what I need to get me home. Okay, so I arrived at the Stafford Ionity charge points, and unfortunately they were all taken and there were 3 other cars queuing. So I've not stopped there. It's not worth the extra few pence per kilowatt hour for me to waste my time queuing for the Ionity charge points. So I'm carried on, and I'm going to go to the Tesla ones at Trentham instead. They are a little bit more expensive. They would be less expensive if I didn't have the Ionity Power membership at the moment, which I got free, so it's not like I paid for that. So ordinarily the Tesla ones would probably be cheaper, or would be cheaper by a little bit. Because I have the Power Pass at the moment, it makes them a little bit more expensive, but you have to weigh up what's your time worth. And to be honest, I'm not going to be hanging around waiting for all those other cars to charge, and I don't know why they're all waiting, to be honest, when there's so many other options. But it does highlight one of the problems. It's not a problem with the network infrastructure in total in the UK. It's a problem with people who want to try to use a particular charge brand or charge point operator, CPO. If you decide or tie yourself into a particular CPO because of like you have a membership card, or because you particularly like that, or those sorts of things, or it's a place that you go to regularly, then you do risk the possibility that it's full. It's like when people try to fill up with petrol or diesel at Costco, and they find that the petrol station is completely rammed because everybody else is trying to get the cheap petrol. It's one of those choices you make. So I've chosen the Tesla charge points. There were other options in Stafford. There was Instavolt, there was Osprey, there was Eon, when I did a quick search. All of those were other options. But I know for a start that these ones at Trentham, the Tesla ones, are lower cost than certainly Instavolt. And they put me back on my normal routes across the country via Melton. So actually it brings me back to the typical route across the country I would normally do. So that's why I've chosen to go this way. And so I will charge to 50-60% like planned, but this time in a different location than I had planned earlier on at the beginning of the drive. Fortunately I have 10% still. I've got plenty of excess charge or buffer of charge to allow me to make this journey up to Trentham from Stafford. So that's the latest update. Disappointing because I have this Ionity Pass, I'd like to use it, but it's one thing I've known about Ionity for quite a while. Here in the UK they are very fast charge points. They are often in good locations, but both of those things, and they do a good price, and all those things joined together do mean that they are very popular, and so you can probably find yourself not being able to use them because other people are busy using them. So possibly one of the reasons why I probably wouldn't go buying a membership pass to Ionity, not unless they expand significantly some of their sites, because when they've got these sites with 6 charge points, they very rapidly get filled up, especially as you approach evening and people are heading home from work, like I have at the moment. So that's the update. Okay, so here I am now at Trentham Estate, and there are 18 Tesla charge points here. So hopefully I can get a version 4, which means I can just scan my card. I don't have to deal with the app. It looks like that will be no problem at all. There's loads of availability, I think. Yep. There are other cars here, of course, but I'm not the only one here. So I'll pull in, reverse in next to this Range Rover. I don't want to go too far back. I made that mistake one time before and couldn't get the cable around. Okay, battery is at 17 minimum, 22 maximum, which was what it was when the preconditioning turned off. So it's maintained its temperature. It went up slightly, the lowest point went to 18 and then dropped back to 17. So we should get a relatively quick charge. Obviously, with it being the Tesla charge point and an EV6 or EGMP platform car, at least, be it Hyundai, Kia or Genesis, you do get a slower charge off these Tesla charge points because they're not designed for 800 volts. So we will see. It'll be capped at 97, so it'll probably go straight to 97, which is the cap. So the preconditioning isn't all that necessary then. Okay, so I'm at Trentham, just plugged into the Tesla charge point. Charging rate has gone straight up to 96, so pretty much 97, as I was saying. It's the cap for this combination. And so I will see how long that takes to get to 50%. I will probably pop off now, go that way, go to the toilets, use the facilities here. I don't know if there's anywhere to grab a coffee, a takeaway coffee. I might see if there is, and then come back and see how we're doing. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes since I plugged in, 22 minutes now. Gone from, I think I was 7% when I plugged in to currently 53%. So this is quite a lot slower than I would have had at the Ionity Charge points, especially as the battery was preconditioned ready for the Ionity Charge points, and they will typically output to the EV6 200, 230 kilowatts on the way up to 50 or 60%. This has been maxing out at 96 kilowatts, which is what I expect from these Tesla charge points. I mean, is it a fault of Tesla? Is it not? Yeah, you can lay blame wherever you want, but basically the 800 volt architecture that this car has isn't fed sufficiently by the Tesla charge points, because they're expecting a 400 volt car, which is what you have if you have Tesla, of course. So you can't expect them to really output specifically for these 800 volt cars. It's just a shame, really. I guess it's not their fault, not Kia's fault. It's just a shame of how it is. But these charge points are plentiful as long as they're in the right location for you, and as long as you're not in an urgent rush. Fortunately, I'm not in an urgent rush, but I wasn't going to wait down at the Ionity charge points with all the other people waiting there as well. I'm not one for queuing, sorry, it's just me. So it says now 2 minutes until it gets to 60%, which is what I programmed it to do. So I will be on my way. Just one other thing that I noticed while I was just looking at the dashboard, which I will just pick up on the camera here. You can probably see there that I have now passed 50,000 miles in this car. So we are now at 50,025 miles. Hooray! So yeah, 50,000 miles, 50,000 perfectly happy miles, really. So yeah, I will, 1 minute left, I will unplug and we will get on the way. Right, so pulling away from the Tesla charge points at Trentham, I have programmed in my home as my destination, and it has told me that there is only 3 minutes difference between the cross-country route I would typically take and the M6 route. That's the fastest route. I think there's 10 miles difference. Mine is the shorter route, so that's the one I'm going to take. So back across via Melton Mowbray and so on. I'm guessing with it coming up to 5 o'clock, the M6 is probably snarled up around Birmingham. It always does. So that will probably make things worse that way, which is fine. I am going the other way. So So out of here we're back onto the back onto the A50 like I was this morning. And then via Melton. Sorry, a little bit of a pause there while I navigated some traffic. I indicated to change lane just as somebody came very quickly up that lane. So I turned my indicator off and waited for them to go past, and they obviously saw my indicator and slowed right down. Waited for me to pull out, and obviously I didn't pull out and they didn't move past, and so we were kind of a log ahead until they decided yes they would move past. I was able to pull in behind them. All good. And I'm on my way, so I'm now 102 miles away from home, 157 predicted range for 59%, because obviously it's gone down from 60% as I left. One thing I do find is that it stops as soon as it reaches the target percentage. So you've only just ticked over into 60, so as soon as you start moving it drops back down to 59. That's one thing I have definitely noticed with the EV6. And it's telling me I will arrive home with 15% battery remaining, I think that said. Let me just have a look on the route options screen, it's easy to see there. 16%. So 16% remaining is what it expects I'll get home with, which is all fine. Probably charged for a bit too long there, so 50% rather than 60% maybe, because I will probably get home, if it's estimating 16%, I'll probably get home with over 20%, and I've probably got 10% more than I needed to take. But how much buffer do you want? It's always tricky to know. Right, so on the A1 now, heading south from the Rutland sort of area. Been 2 hours since the charge stop. I did stop at Greg's and picked up a coffee as I passed past Derby sort of area, and the donut, of course. Like the Greg's donuts, they're good. So 79 miles in those 2 hours, 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. It is quite slow heading across country through those little Rutland back roads, but it is the more direct route, and as my sat-nav was suggesting, it was no faster going via Birmingham M6, because of course that often gets quite busy, quite a lot of traffic jams, especially in the evenings. So almost home, 23 miles remaining, and I'm predicted to be back with 21% in the battery when I return. Lorries pulling out, I have to slow down for those, don't want to go into the back of a lorry. So 32% at the moment, 21% is the predicted return percentage, which may be about right. I'm going to be driving quite quickly, I think, home now. I've had enough of driving for one day. So all in all, overall this trip, 3 hours 40 in the morning to get there, around 4 hours I guess on the way back. There was a 20-minute stop at Trentham Tesla charge points to top the car. There was an attempt to go to Stafford Ionity, but found that the Stafford Ionity charge points were all busy and people were waiting to charge there as well. Interestingly, between those charge points and the Tesla ones that I ended up going to, I did pass a Shell recharge. Well, okay, I didn't pass a Shell recharge. I passed a Shell petrol station that had some Shell recharge charge points. There was 4, and there was nobody charging there at all. So it's not like there's a lack of charge points. It's just the lack of ones that people actually want to use. So it seems the Shell recharge there, nobody wanted to use them. I'm not really surprised. I mean, they're not in a great place. They're just on a roundabout at a garage or a petrol station rather, and they are the most expensive. So I can understand people not really wanting to go to those. The Ionities are very good. They're a good price, especially if you have a membership. But because of these things, they are really busy. And so I think if I was paying for my membership or needing to pay for a membership, then I would be thinking twice about having an Ionity membership, just because of how busy they are often at certain sites. It wasn't the case when I charged at Sheffield. It's not been the case when I've charged at the new ones up at Carlisle, because there are 12 in place there. But I have had problems at Stafford before. It's been quite busy. I know the ones at Peterborough are very, very busy. Well, I never need to charge there because that's where I live. Just always charge from home. And I know that the ones on the way to Cambridge are always busy as well. So where there are 6s, it seems there's an issue with availability of Ionity charge points. That's not to say that the infrastructure across the UK is lacking. There are plenty of charge points. It's just the ones that people want to use are quite busy. So if you go to the Instavolts or the Grid Serves or Shell Recharge or some of these brands, then you will probably find that there's plenty of availability. Apple Green, I've seen lots of Apple Green where there's plenty available. It's just that Ionity, I think, really that's the main one that gets very, very busy. So disappointing that I couldn't get the cheaper charge, but it didn't cause a major issue. I'm not going to go all clickbaity on this video and start saying EV charging disaster or anything like that. This is just the way things happen sometimes. I went to one place, it was too busy, I moved on to another place, got my charge and carried on. So that's the kind of summary of the journey so far. As I say, I'm now less than 20 miles away from home, so it's pretty much done and dusted, really. Okay, so that's the journey over, 180 miles back from Bromborough via the route that I took. I can't give you the exact timing, or can I? No, I can't, because I haven't got any trip that continued the whole way. The one on the car computer resets itself. But since the charging stop at the Tesla charge points, it's been 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. That's 101 miles since there, and 2 hours 23. So I am practically home. It will be 23% when I get home. And thank you for watching, really. So if you've enjoyed, please thumbs up. If you like the channel, then please subscribe, and if you've got something to say, please add comments down below. Love to hear from you. Okay, as I say, thanks for watching and speak to you next time.